Hi, I'm Lynn Schnebley with Educating with Wisdom, and I am the ambassador for Heaven's creating and protecting goddesses and archangels over life. Good morning. It is April the 7th. I'm hoping to start reaching out to people on a case, and I just wanted to review some of the major tools I've been using on a snap basis. This is not the only tool that we're looking at that says Old Norse on it, or I should say, look at the top up here. It says Paleolexicon. Let me bring my cursor across, Paleolexicon. It'll say Paleolexicon up here. We're going to look at the Akkadian Dictionary. But it is a tool. I just wanted to make sure that Teshub is still coming up on its own. I will show you online in my YouTube account when I first saw that. And when I say Teshub, I'm looking under the Hurrians. So this is a challenge to the entire Semitic kind of system that we have going on. I think it's important to show you a few resources where I got them from. This is just a quick pick kind of thing. I mean, there are much more in-depth resources that I've worked from, and that is also for free online. So just to take a look at this, I am challenging the entire script of, So we're going to go here, and as we do this, I'm just going to quickly say, we have the Greek. I'm going to say the Greek took almost everything from the Anatolian languages. Here we go, the Anatolian, Hittite, Luvian, Lydian, Carian, Hattic. So we're going to take a fast look there. And then please look, the Phrygian is not considered to be an Anatolian, but a Paleo-Baltic, and I would say that's true. There's a great deal of Thracian in it. In fact, I'll leave it there. So I'm going to use going into languages and to give you some idea of what god I'm working with. What happened is that about 3.5 years ago, I said, okay, I can no longer deal with the god out of Israel because it's really Baal-Hamon. So if it's really Baal-Hamon, and that's who they're praying to, that's the six-pointed star, it is the Sukkot, it is Gehenna, and I will show you this online in a few minutes. Who do I need a God the Father, because my experience with God has been very masculine. It's been a masculine experience. The ones that have come to help me, I've said that St. Paul came to help me early on, that helped to get me out of my relationship with my former husband and the abuse. And so let's just come here for a moment. And you can see there's the Etruscan really has a lot of Hurrian in it. So to give you some idea, I just opened that site, which you saw, and we're just going to open up Hurrian, and you will see it says Teshub. So Teshub is the major storm god. The major gods in the Hurrian pantheon are not related to physical dimensions. They're not related to a planet. So Baal-Hamon is related to Saturn. The Greeks related Thoth or Jehuda to Hermes. But Teshub and the Hurrians are not. Now it opened right up to Teshub, so, and there is no T on top. So let me go back here and put this quickly. If I go into Capricorn Greek, in fact, I'm going to go right out of the site for a moment so that we start afresh. There, I'm going to start afresh, and we're going right into this. We're back in languages. Go into languages. Capricornian Greek has a combination of some of these others. Notice it says a C up on top. It goes right to the beginning of their alphabet. And it starts right with the C. And if I end it, let's just go to P, pi. And that was an aspirated So it goes right to pi, and we're just going to end everything. I guess I'll try to end everything on a K or a K-like sound. Notice there's no H. So I guess I'll go to the H with K. Here's an E. And it goes right to E, and you can see the little E is on top. Now let's go into a different language. I'll just pick a language. I'm going into the Etruscan language. It starts at the beginning of the alphabet, right here. There's the A. It starts at the beginning. It's up here on A. Here's a P. Notice the P looks like a backward R. It looks like the R, right? And this is going to become very interesting for later. And we're going to end on that B. We said it would be an H. They don't. Oh, they do have an H. Good. Etruscan has an H. So we're coming here. There we go. And let's go to another language here. So we're always looking for the H. If there's no H, we'll go to an E. Remember, when you go into Hurrian, it opens right up to, we'll go to Lydian. It opens right up to an A. Here's an A, right? Let's end on an H. Do they have an H? No H. So they would sometimes use a K to signal an H, sometimes a G, and we're going with this one right here. So we're going to go to an E. See, there's an E on top, and here's the E. Let's go to this language. Now, let's go into, I'm just going to pick Attic. Attic is not Hittite, but notice we've got the A up here. And I would just like to show you, here's us to come, us, ash, we, like we. But if we go to the I just wanted to show you this. Ia. This is where we get Ia for heaven. Notice it means heaven or it means sky. It is not originally a Semitic word. Attic is attested 1,000 years, let's just say. But no, it actually is attested with the Hittites. So 500 years before it even shows up in any Semitic form, possibly 600 years, they're already using the term Ia, Yah. And here's Aja for shining. So we're really looking at the Hattic coming out of Anatolia and this impacting them. Let's go to the H. There's a Ha. We can go to this H. Hoist. All right. Oh, and the chief goddess. Let's see here. Maybe I don't need to do this right now. Oh, they have wine. Here we go. It's older. Yeah. So I said I would end it on an H. Here's an H. So let's come into Hurrian now. Does Hurrian go right to the beginning of the alphabet? Oh, I know. Let's go. Does it go right to the beginning of the alphabet? And here's Hurrian. No, there's A. Notice there's no T for Teshub up on top. This is a miracle that you're looking at. So one of two things did this. Either God did it, because I've had some things that you're going to see that are just God. And then the church could have done this, or it could have been the government, that they will accept that this is a non-planetary over Father that pertains to heaven. And he's going to be related to agriculture, storms, and the hurricanes that are all linked to my case. There is a pattern of it. I'm not saying I'm doing it. I'm saying he's responsible for some of these things. So we're going to call him God the Father. We're not going to say Amen, and we're not going to say Zeus. We're going to say Teshub, because Teshub is bigger than Zeus. And if I go into T, I first saw this almost 2 years ago when I was looking for what to call God the Father, and it actually popped up in an academic paper. Anyway, if I go through the T, and we go through it, and you go through all the T's, there's actually no Teshub. Let's go to the next one. There's a lot of T. Here's a Teshub, Teshuhi, not Teshub. By the way, here's Tia, a goddess, and I'm going to point out that this is Hurrian, and it shows up in Egypt as one of the queens. More Teshubs. And so far, we have no Teshub, and there is no Teshub under the T. Teshub is a standalone. No, I can't get into Teshub from here. I cannot get into Teshub from a T. You can only see the Teshub if you go back into another language, and I'll do that in a moment, and then opened up to the T. I'm going to end it on an H, but I wanted to show you that this word, Atta, here's Ishta, which is actually related to one, Ashti is actually related to wife in the Semitic languages. They took it from them, as well as Isis. The original word of Isis would be Isha or Ishta for wife. So yeah, it's different, Ishta. But I wanted to show you as well. Let's see. Here's you. They say Alma in Isaiah. The Christians have been saying Alma means virgin, and we get the word Alma. Here we go. Actually, from the Hurrians, it was Ulma, which meant a female slave, a female servant, a female slave. Good. And let's see. And here is another Shena, which we're going to see Senu and Senu, which means brother in ancient Egyptian. So here's Shala, or it can be Shela. We see this. They're using it in Islam. They are using it all over. And the Hurries, or the Hor, is actually the Horus and the Horis and the Hari, and it becomes the Curia and the Caria, and it's all over the place. So I'm getting ahead of myself here. This is where we get the year, Sol, Swali. All right, we'll come back. Here's the H. I said I would leave everything on an H. Okay, I'm an H. And let's go into another language. I would like to show you that for Paleo, what they call Paleo-Semitic, there's like almost nothing there. They actually didn't have any of this there. They were using an Akkadian script, or they were using some kind of script. There's I, me, my. There's this. There's no real A's. There's nothing. No, no. Here's Anash, or Anash, Ina, and where's Anash? Man, Anash, that's Anash, human, man, mortal. And there's really nothing. Is there a Ya? There's a Yad, Han, Yamsi, Ya. There's no Ya. Right. Habas to hold tight. Haba to hit. Oh, interesting. Okay, enough. Here's an H. And let's go into her. I would just like to go into the Thracian. Thracian is going to be important because right off the bat, we get an A. Here's an A. Abro, or Abu. Abu. It's a personal name. Interesting that they have Arda as river, because that would not normally. Nope. All right, so let's go to Abros, as in Hebrews, because the Greeks make the same analogy. Abros, he goat, billy goat. There are two possibilities that you're going to see for Goyim. None of them are originally are what Hebrew scholars today are claiming are it. The meaning of Goyim was changed with my understanding. It was with an Eastern church, and I will remember offhand the Ethiopian Eastern Church modified the meaning of Goyim to mean nations, but it wasn't that. There is the possibility that it is this: Gaba or Gaba, countryside or country. Just hold on to that. Let's leave it on an H. Almost. I believe it's where they got Ham from, but I could be wrong. Well, no. So let's come back into languages. So into Capricornian, is there an H? Goes right to the beginning, back into the languages. In Carian, is there an H? No, it goes, maybe I didn't do Carian, but it goes right to the beginning, A. Etruscan, is there an H? No, it goes right back to the A in the beginning. Languages. I did Huttic. Is there an A? There's the A. Goes right back to the A. And Hurrian. Goes to Teshub. And there is no letter there. And you cannot access it here. All right. I'm going to come out of here because actually the whole thing keeps happening. And let's come out of this one. This is it's fast. Now these are fast resources. The Assyrianlanguages.org Akkadian Dictionary. Search for a word. You have to go over to the English. I'm going to type in the word honest. This is where Canada and also Cain comes in. This is where we get the word. The U is simply an ending, but this is, it's Q or K, K-Y-N in Hebrew. This is where we actually get Cain from. And the original meaning, and they changed it in late Phoenician, late Hebrew, they changed it. They changed its meaning. Station, a planet, temple, usable word, command, honest, trustworthy, faithful, servant, partner, loyal, permanent. There we go. Truth, authentic, just, trustworthy. Interesting for Canada, Canutu, because I'll show you where there is some links up here. Truthfulness, honesty, fairness. Okay, I come into here. There we go. So the actual word Cain, the one that they say is the murderer, who's actually the farmer who is made in the image of God, they have twisted it. Violent pastoralists twisted the meaning. This is up until they came over from Alexandria and the Maccabees took over. This is really important too. Up until the Maccabees took over, none of the other traditions, there was no Bible story that Cain was the bad guy. This is purely a combination of Greek and Hebrew, the Semitic that is happening with the Carthaginians, the Hebrews that are over in Alexandria and that area, as well as the Greeks that have come down and the Hellenes. All right, perform another search. And let me see if I can find. Hamu? Let's see if I can find it under hum. Maybe. Nope, can't find it. Perform another search. U-S-U-R-P-E-R. It should say usurper. Ah, here we go. This is where we get the word Ham from. So when they have Shem, and they have Ham, and they have Baal-Haman, and then they have Japheth, which I think is actually for Hepa. But here we go. So Ham is really a usurper king, a rebel, a usurper. And what's really interesting is when I come over here, Ham, here we go, a usurper. So Ham is really, and Baal-Haman is really the usurper. Perform another search, and now it gets really interesting. Saturn. Oh, and then I'm going to come out of here. Saturn. I got it. Search. Aha. Arubu, or this is where we get the word Kian, which they warn you in the Bible, both in Amos and then the Rampin in Acts, that the Jews at that time were worshiping the planet Saturn, and that is Baal-Haman, Kiam in Amos, I believe. And here we go. Perform another search. And if I go into this, and there is Ghana. So when they called it Ga Ben Henna, it was actually, I believe, the Akkadian was actually used, and it would have been pronounced, it would have moved over as a GH sound. So it would have been Gehenna, Gehenna. And it's so much more interesting than this. I'm pretty sure this one, this other stuff, its relatedness to Acts and Amos, I am, pardon me, 99.9% sure. This one, I'm 85% sure. Perform another search. Yeah, oh, priest. This will be important later on. Abra, a kind of priest. It could be a kind of priest. It could be a kind of goat priest. Because the Bible tells you not to let them in. The Levites should be here. They're not here. Sometimes the Levites are here. So I've sent you a lot of other things like Machon. Obviously, I'm doing the laundry. No, that's not what I want to see. Another search. Nope. Well, anyway, I can't think right doing this. So I'm going to move out of here. Maybe it's just MA. No. Well, I have it saved, and I can't just pull it up right now. So we're going to come out of here, and I'm going in here, and I'm just going to go in here. You do. Going to switch out. Switch accounts. Go into here. Here is the address, Educating with Wisdom 77770. And I do almost nothing with it because I was hacked into a long time ago. Reading about India and Israel. And I want to come into view the channel. I guess I want to view the channel. All right. So if you come into this, you will be able to, if you don't want to put in the link that I send you, you can come into Educating with Wisdom, go to this, and then you will be able to search in it videos, what I've done. All right, and some of these are kind of hokey, but if you go back to the very beginning, you'll see that they've been following what I'm doing, and they basically do what I ask them to do very often. And what is covering them up are these technocrats that are related to the LGBTQ and Black Lives Matter. I believe that this is probably the big thing that's. Hi, we are recording again, and I just wanted to tell us that, here we go. So here's the Educating with Wisdom. You can go in and see this one, World Under the Dragon, the effects of SpaceX, and this here. I believe the coronavirus came from this area, and I show it very early on. I show who they are. Unfortunately, this particular person, Fiona, appears that he walked into a meeting with an erection, which is weird. And yeah. Oh yes, Jesus never spoke of the fall. Okay, so you can or can't, but unfortunately, everything that I put into this has happened. So I'm not a fringe person here. And then finally, when you go through and look at the Lost Book of Nostradamus, video for Lost Book of Nostradamus, I would use this one because I assume it's a he. These have too much narration that go into it. This is a full document, but they're narrating everything. You, I think, just want to go in and see what the pictures look like. Now, there are earlier plates pertaining to some of these things, but this particular one just shows you all of the plates. And some of these plates, even though they look like they're similar, they're very different. So let's see if this begins. I'll just show it to you. It's the Lost Book, view page by page, 17, and it's by Spartan ship. So let's go in because I will give you the link. And there we go. So here we go. And what you're going to see is that there are a lot of dragons going on in here. This is a dragon that is attached to the boat, or that is attached to the Let's go on. I need to get out of here so that you can move on. This we're going to see in Micah coming out of the clouds, the black. So all of these I was able to. So I'm saying goodbye for now. To see all of the pages at one see that you can then compare it to other things. All right, and it's called Spartan Chip, Lost Book of Nostradamus. So thank you for your time, and I'm going to say goodbye for now and then upload this. Oops. There we go again, the Spartan. Let's just say bye for now.